Out in the back. Let me just make sure. No. Okay, cool. I want to make absolutely sure. It is something about podiums, boy. You know, when God only blessed you to be 5'7", it's, boy, howdy. Okay, it's all right. It's all right. Well, I'm happy that I am speaking in Texas because I have the opportunity to say, what's up, y'all? And no one looks at me crazy, right? Anywhere else I go, people are like, y'all, what is y'all? What does that mean? So I'm happy that I have an opportunity to say, what's up, y'all? And I mean, like I said, you guys can't even see my outfit. Like, this podium is, you know what? All right. I'll leave it alone. You know, as Deborah said, I am here today to really be able to speak to you all about really maximizing our multi-generational workplace, right? It hasn't been a time like this ever, where we've got so many generations that are in the workplace, and we now need to know how to be able to effectively communicate with them, and more importantly, how to be able to maximize the gifts and talents that they have. So I know that I don't have a lot of time up here, and since I don't have a lot of time up here today, I'm gonna take you all through a wine flight. Has anybody ever had a wine flight before? Anybody? Okay, few people. Okay, but the people that don't know about the wine flights, essentially gives you an opportunity to be able to try and taste different wines from different regions, different types of grapes at different altitudes, et cetera, right? So that's what I'm gonna do for you all. Since I'm the 9 a.m. speaker, I don't want to get you drunk. I just want to get you buzzing, all right? There's something you can feel nice, you know? Now, if I promise to get you all buzzing, I need a promise from you all. And the promise from you all that I need is that you all are going to interact with me. I need interaction, right? The first thing that we're here to do, a lot of people say, okay, you know, it's a keynote, people just want to be inspired and motivated. Okay, cool. But I like a little interaction too. So, I have a phrase that I always use whenever I'm speaking, and the phrase is simply, oh yeah. And the reason I use oh yeah is because it can mean so many different things. I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and it's amazing how a child can quickly put a mirror on you so that you can see all of the things, you know, good, bad, indifferent, etc., right? And she always asks me, she's like, Dad, why do you always say oh yeah? I say, baby, the reason I always say oh yeah is because it can mean so many different things, right? Like, man, last night, it wasn't great. Oh yeah? Tonight we about to get turned up. Oh yeah! Okay, y'all get it, all right? So, whenever I say oh yeah, I need an oh yeah from you, okay? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? There we go. All right. So, let's go ahead and jump into it. And I want to get the juices flowing, so what we've got right here are essentially generations, right? I call myself the generation architect, and as you can see here, we've got B, X, Y, Z. So, show of hands, how many individuals identify with B or baby boomers in the crowd? Okay? How many individuals identify with Generation X? Okay? Gen Y or millennials? We got y'all in here? Okay, a few. And I'll ask, oh, here we go. She loud and proud in the back, I like it. And then Generation Z, I'll put that out there just in case. I don't really, okay, cool. So, I now need a favor from 2 individuals who were in the boomer category. Can you stand up for me? Just 2. Come on, remember, I told you I need to interact. There we go. Okay. Now I got 4. Now I got 3. Now I got 2. There we go. All right. It's early. It's early, boomers. I get it. All right. Generation X. I need 2 representatives from Generation X. Okay, we got 1. We got 2. There we go. Gen Y or my millennials. I need 2. We got 1. Okay. Come on. We got the 2. No. It's like musical chairs. All right. We got. You 2 ladies are millennials, right? Okay. Are you a millennial or Gen X, ma'am? Gen X. Okay, perfect. All right. So, Monty, could you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
And could you pull out your phone? I would like for you to jot these words down, okay? So I'm going to start with the boomers. I would like for you to give me 2 redeeming qualities of yourself, okay? 2 redeeming qualities. It doesn't matter what they are. Okay? All right, you ready? Happy.
Straightforward.
Straightforward. Oh, it almost seemed like you were about to give me a third one when you came up with straightforward. You're like, straightforward. I don't want to do it. Thank you. We have our second boomer. Okay, go ahead. 2, please. Experienced. And wise. Here we go. All right. I'm going to slow down because I've got Monty texting. So, okay, cool. All right. Now, Gen X. Go ahead. Give me 2. Loyal. Truthful. Endearing. Look at that. All right. Gen X in the back. Honest and an advocate. She had those teed up like she was ready. Honest and an advocate. Okay. All right. And now I've got my 2 millennial ladies. Who wants to go first?
Innovative and eager.
Innovative and eager. Okay? Okay?
I would say know-it-all. And, oh God. What's Texas?
Whoa, hey. I said, number 1, I said 2 redeeming qualities, but you see what's going on?
That is true, unfortunately. But no, I think tech savvy.
Tech savvy, okay. Tech savvy, okay. Can I get a round of applause for my beautiful volunteers? Thank you. So, Monty,
yes.
I'm going to do something very millennial. Can you hand me my phone? And then can you text me that list? Thank you very much. Okay, because I promise we're going to make good use of that list here in a little bit. So again, wine flight. I can't give it all to you, but I'm going to give you some tastes, right? Some taste of the modules that I do. And the first module that I go through is how can we begin to effortlessly recruit and retain top talent? Because let's be frank, top talent recruits top talent. If anybody's been keeping up with the basketball season, especially with the NBA, I can't wait until it starts because now we've got so many mega teams, right? We got Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. We got LeBron James and D Wade back together, right? We got Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and Carmelo Anthony down in Oklahoma. I'm like, man, look at this. Top talent recruits top talent. If you want to do research, you can go to Stanford. If you want to become an engineer, you go to MIT. Why? Because top talent recruits top talent. So why do I talk about millennials so much? Because we've got so many myths that are out there about millennials, but I want to share 5 things. Number 1 in 3 Americans are millennials. Ooh. That's over 80 million millennials here just in the United States alone. By 2025, they will make up 75% of the workforce. And they are extremely misunderstood. Period. One of the most misunderstood generations are the millennials. But the reason that I speak about millennials so much is because they are the future. More importantly, we are the future. But we need each and every other generation. We need the baby boomers. We need Generation X. Because as it stands right now, businesses and companies, right, are ran or owned by our baby boomers and our Gen Xers. And I like to actually make the analogy to a car. So the business is the vehicle, and the vehicle is being driven by our Gen X and our baby boomers. But the millennials and Generation Z have the map. They have their ears to the streets, they get and they understand the trends that are happening and that are going on. How many people in here remember being told, don't call anybody after 9 p.m.? Anybody? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Exactly, right? Don't call anybody after 9 p.m. what is this about? Don't call anybody after 9 p.m. But I remember mom used to get mad at me. Well, hey, don't you call nobody after 9. And you better not be calling that girl after 9 p.m. And she better not call here either, Corey. She calls here, we gonna have to have a real. And I'm like, Mom, relax, right? Don't call after 9 p.m. We had sayings like this that would just pass down, right? Don't call, don't do that. But the reason things are starting to change and things are starting to shift is because one of the facts that I left out is that millennials are now the largest living generation. And because of that, things are starting to shift. So as you saw things trickling down, now we're seeing a difference. So I'm going to tell you all a really quick story. So I was out at lunch at Jason's Deli. I was having a really good time. It was me and a colleague of mine from the National Speakers Association, and we were sitting down and we were having a really good time. And as we were there, we were chatting. She was like, Corey, I really want to get into the pharmaceutical market. And I was like, I'm in the pharmacy. She was like, yeah, I know. That's why we're sitting down talking. I was like, all right, cool. Let me help you out. So we're here, we're chatting, and we're going through, and we're mind mapping some things. And all of a sudden, I see this woman sit down. Beautiful woman, sits down. She gets her salad. And I don't know about you all, if you've been to Jason's Deli. Jason's Deli, you can make some dope salads at Jason's Deli, right? I mean, boy, she got the sauce, she got the cucumbers, the tomatoes, she even had a little watermelon on the side. I said, boy, she about to do it big. So she sits down, she takes the salad, right? She spreads it out. And then she gets her dressing. Right? She is just layering this thing on, right? It almost reminds me of like that Twix commercial, how they talk about how they like laying the caramel on the Twix, right? Right? I was like, boy, she watched a lot of Food Network. Because then she slid it to the side, then she made sure it was out the way, right? She cleared the space. And then she did this. I said, wait a minute. So, lady I was sitting with, her name was Courtney. I said, Courtney, give me just a second. I walk up to her and I say, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. My name is Corey. How are you? She was like, oh, good. I was like, what's your name? She said, my name is Mike. I said, hello, Mike. Again, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I am the generation architect. I work with Fortune 500 companies, helping them to maximize their multi-generational workplace. And I saw that you had your phone out, and it looked like you were about to post something to social media. She looked up at me. She smiled. She said, yeah, I am about to post something to social media, and I'm about to send this photo to the group text. I said, what, the group text? I said, wait a second, Mike. So you're about to take a photo of this, post it on social media, and send it to the group text. She said, yeah. And I said, why? She told me. She said, well, my 41-year-old daughter sent me a text message last night saying that she had an embryo stick. She's doing in vitro. So I now am sending her a photo of my salad to let her know that I'm now eating healthier so that I can be around longer. I said, oh, man, that's what I said. I said, oh, man, that's a beautiful story. That's really beautiful. But you said you posted this to social media? She said, yeah. And I was like Instagram? She said, yeah. I said, oh, go on with your bad self, Mike. All right. But the reason I share that story is because things are no longer trickling down, things are actually permeating up, right? Yeah. It's the younger generations that are actually starting to push things in a completely different direction. And unlike a Generation X that came in, who didn't have the numbers to cause the shift, the millennials do. So the future trends of your company, the future trends of creating a sustainable business lie in the hands of getting and understanding the millennial generation. Another quick story, 2009, I had my daughter. It was beautiful, beautiful little thing. I was graduating from college. My mom, she was actually in Saudi Arabia. And yes, if you need to do the math, I did have a baby in college. Yes, almost that time. 2009, I had her, and my mom came down. She's flying in, graduating, family's in, everybody's having a good time, mom's down. What's she doing? Oh, she taking photos, right? She having a good time going. I mean, she here, she just. Hold on. Flash wasn't on. Hold on. And she rolled up here to play. I said, come on, Mom. Me, right? I'm like, here we go. Boom, boom, hold on, just the exposure. Okay, boom, yeah, bye. There we go. Okay, cool. She's leaving. She says to me, Coy, can we go print these pictures out that you took? I said, Mom, no. I posted all of these photos on Facebook. I will never forget the next words that came out of her mouth. She looked at me. What's a Facebook? I said, come on, Mom, hold on. So I sat her down and we got her Facebook account. Again, things are not trickling down anymore. Things are permeating up. So yes, we like our selfies, but so do y'all. Right? Like, come on. So do y'all. So let's move on to the next one, okay? This is the second flight. Like I said, I'm gonna get y'all buzzing. This is the second flight right here. The second flight is to eliminate the multi-generational tension in the workplace because it's there. So like I said, I want you guys to interact with me, so guess what? We got another interaction, yay! I need everybody in here to do me a favor and close your eyes for a moment. Just indulge me. Indulge me, close your eyes for a moment. This actually might be the first break you take all day, right? Close your eyes for a moment. And now, with a show of hands, how many people can imagine a color that they have never seen before? Okay, a few people, but for the most part, not that many. Okay, go ahead, open your eyes. The reason I asked that question is simply because of this statistic. Until 2030, yes, 2030, 10,000 people will turn 65. Let me say that one more time. 10,000 people, I'm sorry, I see your face. It was like, wait a second, this math don't make sense. 10,000 people every single day will turn 65 until 2030. In fact, someone turns 65 here, I don't even know. Okay? 10,000 people a day. Why is that important? The reason that statistic is important is because we are now moving into something where we are going to have an aging population that is extremely large. With the technology that we have now, baby boomers are living even longer. Right? And they having a good time. And I'm sure some of y'all gonna be just like this. Y'all gonna be out on the beach. I can't wait till I turn 65. I'm counting the days. We get out of here. But if you all turn 65 and all of the information that you have is right here, then what happens? Right? Then what happens? Because we've got an older generation that says to the younger generation, y'all don't get it. This is common sense. And we got a younger generation saying to the older generation, y'all don't get it. This is common sense. We're speaking the same words, but a completely different language. So we need to start looking into succession planning and reverse mentoring, where we now begin to put individuals together who have skills and talents in different areas. And the reason why is because your value is in your difference. I'll say that one more time because I feel like, hold on. Your value is in your difference. So let's move on with the third flight. How's everybody feeling? Everybody good? Everybody kind of buzzing? Okay. This one is real tasty for HR managers, right? It's like, okay, well, how do we create something where employees are actually engaged and eager to come to work? How do we do that? Because I've got news for Gen X and baby boomers out there. Everybody, all millennials, you guys want it all. You guys want so much. The trophy generation, yeah. Y'all gave us the ribbons. I mean, that's true. Let's call a spade, right? But when it's all said and done, we don't want anything different. We want to do meaningful work, just like each and every one of you do too. So how do we create a more meaningful workplace where individuals are engaged and they're eager to come to work? Does anybody know who this is? It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's cool. She's not here. Thank God, right? I mean, that could have been embarrassing. I'm joking. Okay, so this is a former colleague of mine. Her name is Bosma St. John. She goes by Boz. Former Apple executive, now the new chief brand officer for Uber. And one of the things that I love about Boz is she keyed in on something that a lot of people have been avoiding for so long. And it's this. She's talking about bringing her whole self to work. Not half of myself, not a little bit of myself, my whole self to work. How many people have multiple social media accounts? Yeah, right? How many times do you want to bring your whole self to work, but your boss only wants to LinkedIn you? Wait a second. You can't just get the LinkedIn me, right? You gotta take the Facebook me, the Instagram me, the Snapchat me, right? Like you gotta get all of me. You can't just take bits and pieces of me. But what she really keyed in on is something that is absolutely pivotal for all of us to understand, and it is that there is this illusion of separation. We have created this illusion of separation. How many people have heard of work-life balance? Yeah, I got something to tell you, it doesn't exist. There is no separation. It's an illusion. Let me explain a little further. I see we got a few skeptics. I'm like, I don't really get it. Here we go. Have you ever had to do something? In fact, let me start here. If you find yourself unhappy in life, I guarantee you, if you look back at the work you do, it's gonna suffer. If you find yourself unhappy at work, I guarantee you, if you look back at your life, it is going to suffer. There is no separation. But a lot of us have been told to go to school, get a good job, right? Go to school, go get your education, come out, come get a good job. And then you find yourself in this quandary where you say to yourself, man, hold on a second. This wasn't quite yet what I thought. It wasn't quite yet what I wanted. And the reason why you can't find that work-life balance, the reason why you're on vacation, you're still answering emails, the reason why you're at work and you trying to figure out how can I get off so I can go pick up baby girl is because there is an illusion of separation. It doesn't exist. Work and life are the same. For some people, it's savage. For some people, you smile, right? I smile, man. I was dancing on my way. I said, oh, I have to go to work. Put it together, right? Because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you in here love what you do as well. And it's about reigniting that fire, reigniting that passion. So I know I told you all that list that I had Monty text me a little earlier. Let me go ahead and jump on that list. Because we had a list that came through where we had These endearing qualities: happy, straightforward, experienced, wise, loyal, truthful, honest, an advocate, innovative, a know-it-all, tech-savvy, eager. Think about how amazing that company could be. Think about the change that could be created whenever we have an opportunity to put all of those things together. Whenever we can begin to break out of the silos that we've created. Baby boomer, Gen X, millennial, that evokes an emotion in you. You have a thought whenever you think of that. Whenever someone walks in the room, it's like baby boomer, you're like, something happens. Something happens. Good, bad, or indifferent, something happens. When someone walks in and they're a millennial, you say, I don't know, you know? Millennials are killing industries. It's like, no, stop. Something happens. But how can we begin to break out of those silos? And the way that we can start to break out of those silos is to go back to the question that I asked you before. Can you imagine a color that you've never seen before? We had a few people raise their hand, but the majority of us could not. And I'm not going to go into the neuroscience behind the question, but I'll quickly put it this way. If it's difficult for you to imagine a color that you have never seen before, then it is difficult for you to move from the known into the unknown. Which means that you are now going to bring all of your past thoughts, past perspectives, past experiences into every single situation. And what does that cause? Tension. Why? Because you don't know me. You haven't met me. You don't know anything about me. But you brought that same exact tension back in who said, all millennials are this way. All black guys are this way. All young people. Stop. What makes a glass useful is the empty space that it possesses. But so many people are walking around with their glass so full you can't pour anything else in. So in order to create something new, which we all have the opportunity to do, and I empower each and every one of you to do, is to begin to start thinking about how we can create Generation 1. How can we create one generation where we have all of these skill sets working together? Because I'll say to you again, the value you bring is your difference. Thank you. Questions. Anybody have any questions? Oh, this sounds weird about that. Anybody have any questions? I know I gave you all snippets of modules in and of themselves, right? Module about retaining and recruiting top talent. A module about how do we now begin to eliminate that multi-generational tension. And a snippet and a module about how can we create a workplace where individuals are engaged and actually eager to come to work. Okay.
What are some of the good examples of reverse mentoring that you've seen or heard about?
Sure. So we have Zappos, actually, who does a really, really great job of reverse mentoring. And the great thing that they do with reverse mentoring is they don't have to go out and roll out a program that has budgets and all of this other stuff, right? It's something that is just ingrained in their culture. So a good example would be you've got entry-level individuals who are coming in, typically younger people, right? Typically your millennials, if we want to go back into the whole generation thing. And then again, this is a very, very broad stroke whenever we talk about millennials, right? I mean, we're talking about an age range of 1980 to 1996, right? I mean, you wouldn't talk to a 22-year-old who's single, who never went to college the same way that you talk to a 22-year-old who's married with kids, right? It's a completely different conversation. I say that to say that this is a broad stroke. However, there are a lot of perspectives that are similar within this age range. So you could now have the millennial beginning to teach the executive about social media, about the new trends that are going on and that are happening. And then now the executive begin to now teach the millennial about emotional intelligence, about interpersonal communication, right? Because these soft skills are beginning to become lost, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love emojis just like everybody else does, but there's something to be said about a handwritten note and a handwritten letter and what that means when you get that, right? And the feeling that possesses, the time that takes. So now being able to have those conversations and it be intentional conversations, now we're able to intentionally create change and intentionally move forward. Great question. Okay, I got 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. Go ahead.
So you mentioned that when millennials come in the room, something happens, you have this certain mindset, and having a millennial, I tend to attach entitlement to that.
Sure.
Because that's been my experience, I guess, with the millennials that I've dealt with. How do you change that mindset?
That's good. That's real good. And the reason why that's real good is because this is actually a conversation that I had not too long ago. As you can imagine, I have all the time, right? So, the interesting thing about the word entitled, man, Monty, I'm sorry, because you got that. Could you look up the definition of entitled for me? Because I think we all have our own perspective on what entitled means. But let's look up the dictionary definition so we can all be on the same page.
The amount to which a person has a right. Second one, the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment.
Okay. So let's look at that second one, because that's probably a bit closer, right?
Yeah.
Privileges, special treatment. Okay. I'm going to succinctly answer your question with a very curt statement. It takes one to know one. And then I'm going to dive into it a little bit more.
Okay.
And then I'm going to dive into it a little bit more. I'll unpack it a little bit. Okay, so I'll unpack it a little bit. Okay, all right. Hey. Here we go. All right, so we're talking about privileges and special interests. So we've got a younger generation that is coming up that says, hey, I want to do things a little bit different, right?
Right.
And I have a special interest in doing things a little bit differently because I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to be faster. It'll be more efficient. It's easier for me. I want to work on my iPhone. I don't want to work on your Dell computer, right? Like, it's like, okay, well, hold on. And then you got, on the other side, older generations who say, I don't want to do things any differently. I want to work on my Dell computer. I don't want to work on my iPhone. The reason I say that it takes one to know one is because we have an older generation that is privileged and has a special interest in keeping things the way they are. And we have a younger generation that is privileged and has a special interest in changing things. So whenever I hear the word entitled that's thrown out, I typically answer in a very short and succinct way. It takes one to know one, and then I unpack it. Because I think it's important for us to understand what entitled means. Yeah? Okay.
I think you may have answered my question, but I do want to know, in your opinion, what are some of the ways that you think that we can attract more millennials to public service when we don't have the salaries out there? I know we have meaningful work, but what are some ways that we can attract the millennial talent to come and actually apply and stay with us?
It's a really good question. Let me ask a quick question. Do you believe that the population at whole know about the great work and great meaningful work that public administrators do?
hear about police burning and this. Elaborate.
So it's going to take an effort internally to begin to show that. One of the things that we've seen about the millennial generation, again, broad stroke, but we can look at some of these things as the perspectives. Millennials enjoy doing meaningful work. They want to do things that are valuable. And I'll actually share something a little deeper. If you can get someone to value something, you don't have to tell them to do it. I'll let that marinate for a little bit, right? Because if you value it, you want to do it. You're eager to do it. You're engaged. So my direct answer to you would be, a spotlight now needs to be shown on the meaningful work that public administrators do. Because if there's a purpose that's there, and you can attach that purpose to a greater good, you can attach that purpose to the community, and then you can get that visible, that's how you can begin to attract more millennials. Go ahead.
My question is just a clarification.
Please.
Generation Z, how do you define that?
Got it. So Generation Z is 1996 and up, right? 1996 and up. So I know you got some people like, well, hold on now. We got millennials and millennials, the turn of the millennium, and it's 2000, and we got all these different stats that are out there. Let me tell you how this number came about, from 1980 to 1995. Let me tell you how this number came about. Because we've got this age group, we've got this age range that's here, something has to connect them. And typically what connects them are a shared experience. And that's why you've got individuals within a generation who tend to have similar perspectives. The experiences, of course, that they have will begin to kind of change and shift those perspectives, but there is a general perspective that a lot of them have. And the perspective, or the cutoff, is 9/11. If you can remember where you were when 9/11 happened, if you weren't too young to be able to conceptualize what just happened, then you're still in the millennial generation. If you cannot conceptualize that, if that's history to you, if I tell my daughter, hey, baby, you know, it's planes, buildings, crash, but if it's history to you, then you're not a part, right? I mean, I even think about other generations who can remember where they were when JFK was assassinated, right? Where were you? What did that feel like? You know, what did it feel like whenever you saw Martin Luther King assassinated? Wait a second, right? There's a generation that grew up in the civil rights era, right? So we've got these shared experiences that begin to lay a foundation for a perspective that we have. That clarify? Anyone else? Okay, yes ma'am.
Okay, so it's like you are saying like the baby so there's a gap. Without you having to repeat yourself. What are some major things that you said to bridge that gap, to bring them together?
Sure.
So that progression can continue. Because both want to have their way. Both want to be valued. So what would you say to us when you say major things from your perspective?
Sure.
We can do to bridge that gap?
Got it. So this is now beginning to do more of a deep dive into eliminating the multi-generational tension. But to give you one thing specifically that you can hold on to, unconscious bias training. And that's what I dive into in that module. We've got to do some unconscious bias training. Right? Because again, the moment that we say baby boomer, a feeling happens, right? An emotion happens. We have all of these past thoughts, these past experiences. The moment that we say millennial, the same thing happens. We have all these past thoughts, these past experiences. Right? The way that we're beginning to categorize generations is the same way that we begin to categorize race. And how you feel about that. And, oh, well, I don't know, and I haven't worked with, or maybe they're gonna, it's the same thing. So the same way that we attack the diversity and inclusion issue with regard to equity is the same way that we've got to begin to start to build bridges between generations. We have to remove the silos, and we have to again understand that the value that each of us brings is our difference.
You called it unconscious bias?
Unconscious bias. That is correct. Unconscious bias. And if you're looking for just kind of examples of it, you can do an implicit bias test as well. They've got implicit bias tests that are out there. I want to get into it, but I mean, go ahead.
I do a lot of generational trainings, similar years, and I'm just curious, from your perspective, why are the X generation kind of always
Sandwich.
I feel like we're just we're missing.
I don't think you all are missing. In fact, I believe that you all are the link to actually connect boomers to millennials. Right? There you go, right? I believe that you all are the link to connect the boomers to the millennials. Because before the shift happens, it's not like the mantle is going to go from baby boomer to millennial. The mantle is going to go from baby boomer to Generation X, then down to millennials, right? Now, we've got some anomalies where you've got millennials that are already in leadership positions, but for the most part, we're going baby boomer, Gen X, millennial. Generation X has a key and critical role to play in this transition. And if you feel forgotten, let me be the first to say you're not. All right? You're not. We appreciate Generation X. I do. Right? You all are not forgotten. We need you. You all are absolutely pivotal to this, right? Because there's only so far that you can go before you just can't conceive what that's like. Let me give you an example. My daughter will never know that she can use a phone, that she could not use a phone and see the face on the other end of the phone. She will never know that.
Right.
She will never know what a dial tone sounds like.
Right.
She'll never know about dial-up internet. She'll think that everywhere had Wi-Fi. Wait a minute, Dad, you don't have Wi-Fi in your car? I'm like, hell, baby, come on, you got a Wi-Fi in the car too? There's only so far that you can go before you just like, I don't get it. We need Generation X. We need Generation X to be that bridge between the older guard moving into the newer guard, right? It's 2017 now, and who would have thought that we would have small computers in our pockets,
Right.
right? And self-driving cars.
Yes.
Things are changing. When I tell you, I saw this lady on this hoverboard, and she had the stroller too, so I was like, now you know. And she just, I'm like, are you kidding me? And she wheeling, having a good old time. Sure enough, I wish I could have got my phone out in time. He had this minivan that was coming, so I'm in the line, drop the baby girl off at school. She on the sidewalk, she minding the business. She got the other little one behind her on the bike, right? He riding, And and I'm like, okay. And sure enough, this van is coming, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know. There's a split in the road right there, right? When she got across, and the van got the signal on, I'm like, ooh, hold on. Let me get my phone out, because everybody's become a reporter, right? You know, everybody's an influencer, right? So I was like, I'm about to post this. Look at this. Hold on. So she, sure enough, this van puts the signal on and gets almost into, she stopped. She knocked the kid hoverboard and went flying. She flew back. I was like, I said, and that's exactly why she should be on this hoverboard with this stroller. Like that was bad. But that's what I'm saying with regard to how things are shifting and how things are changing, right? It's 2017. Things are moving very, very quickly. Technology has changed things. People say millennials, y'all a trophy generation. Everybody got a ribbon. Yeah. Because it was easier to print ribbons, right? We got technology that's moving, right? Things are shifting. Before it was slow. I don't know. Someone was back there stitching it with hair. I don't know what happened. Now, we can mass produce these bad boys. Everybody got a trophy. Why? Because it's easier to make. Like, come on. Call a spade, right? Technology's changing things. It's shifting.
So as a Generation X, you kind of feel like you're in the middle because you teach your 74-year-old mother how to text, and then you have your millennial saying, can you please tell your mother to stop texting me at 6 a.m.
And to stop commenting on my posts. Like, come on. Yeah, like you're making me look bad. Now I gotta explain. You call me look on. I'm like, stop. That's what I'm saying. You got company secrets out here now. And I get that Generation X might feel like they're in the middle. And I mean, there's a truth to it. You got what was the largest generation to Gen X to now the largest generation, right? So I understand the feeling, but again, all I can do is show the empathy and tell you that we need you, because you all are going to be the bridge. You're going to be the gateway. The gateway to make all of this work, right? The gateway to creating these sustainable companies. The gateway to creating Generation 1.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of the Central Texas chapter, we just want to present you with a little token of appreciation and say this was awesome. Yes, if you are looking for training opportunities, please see Coy after the closeout, and he can schedule with your divisions. I'm sure he's a registered vendor in the county and the city. If not, we can get hooked up with that. And the city does have unbiased training. I've taken it. And so the city does provide that. But again, this was awesome. Yes, and I'm an excerpt, and I'm trying to bridge that. Again, thank you so much. And also, just a couple of announcements. If you plan to participate in the speed mentoring as a mentee, please meet in the Onion Creek room. And don't forget about the Marks of Excellence Award. And finally, after all is said and done, at the closeout, we have evening affair tonight, the Taste of Austin. So again, let's give Coy another. Oh yes, and please use your app, the Convene app.